Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I hope you've been well. I've been having a really relaxing week off this week. So relaxing that I don't think I've actually got an awful lot of the things done that I wanted to get done, which is somewhat frustrating, but at the same time, so chill, so relax. I've been spending what free time I've been finding, updating the studio with new bits of hardware. If you've been looking at Facebook earlier on, you'll know that I've got a new Stream Deck. It's not the complete solution to all of the technical things here in the studio, but it's something that I can build on over time. I'm actually quite excited, been programming little buttons, and hopefully it improves the workflow of the show today. If you get any problems, do let me know. You can contact me down there in the comment section, or you can talk to me on Facebook, you can talk to me on Discord at the Easy 8 After Party, or you can just send me a letter if you know where I live. Yeah, why not? If you're new here, Easy 8 is not a tutorial channel by any stretch of the imagination. It is merely a place where you can come and paint your models, knowing that someone at the same time, this guy and these guys over here, are painting at the same time. Because let's be honest, when you've got a massive horde of unpainted plastic that you know you just kind of want to get through, it can be a bit of a struggle, right? That's the whole problem. So yeah, we're here to kind of just come together and have the online painting club. That's exactly what it's for. So if you've got stuff that you want to be painting this evening, do let me know. I'm genuinely interested in what it is that you're painting. Share with me your awesome things that you are projecting on right now. If you want to put photographs up on Easy 8's Facebook page, please do. There's a link just down there in the description of this video, where you can go to Facebook. You can't put photos for some reason on the Facebook page anymore, but you can just find this week's schedule and put it in there as a comment. I don't know why I'm pointing sideways all the time, but yeah, you can just drop it in there as a comment if you like. That's what people seem to be doing lately, and it means that I get to see all your cool stuff. So please do that. If you do like what we do here at Easy 8, please don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Every little thing that you do really helps make this community grow, and like I said last week, just loving the fact that right now we've got nearly 100. We've got 85 hardcore subscribers that seem to tune in regularly throughout the week. So people watch it live, people watch it retrospectively, and that's just great. So please don't stop now. Let's see if we can get to 100. It's 15. It feels like a bit of a stretch to go, but you know, maybe once that algorithm gets going, like no one can stop that machine. There goes my phone beeping away in the background. I haven't done the thing where I normally make it go quiet. That's a bit embarrassing and a little bit unprofessional. But anyway, yeah, so please do, share and subscribe. It really helps me feel good about myself. Some comments are going in today. We've got Leslie, we've got Jeff, we've got Kez all in there in the live chat. I'm just going to have a little make sure that I haven't missed anyone out. No, it's just you guys at the moment. Thanks very much for coming along. I hope you guys are all doing well. And Steve Jenkins has joined us. Evening. Hi, Steve. You haven't been with us since the early days. Nice to see you again there. Yeah, let us know what it is that you're working on. I genuinely would be interested. I'm going to take you straight over to the workbench now because, well, I want to. And that's all I need to know. There we go. So I'm pretty stoked to be nearly completing this guy. I've only been working on it for a couple of weeks, and for me to finish one model in that time, as anyone who's been watching the show for a while will know, that's quite a thing. I've done a little bit of work on him over the week because I haven't just been, twiddling my thumbs. So yeah, I'm literally just at the point now of finishing him off. I've done a couple of test pieces on him, trying to play around with not object source lighting, but just trying to make things lit up. I thought that I'd go with the just trying to make things lit up thing before I started doing object source lighting, because well, it's one step easier, isn't it? So I've got this little thing on the back here that I've made like a little light, some sort of weird Tesla coil thingy. Is it going to come into focus? There it is. And then there's like a little thing on his gun that I've turned into like a little light. On this one here, where I was being a little bit not accurate, I left it kind of spilled out all over the place, so it is actually a little bit of OSL, but whatever. And frankly, I'm just not that good at it yet. I've been really playing. I've got another mini on the side here with a plasma gun, and that's rubbish, so I left that alone. But I did like the turquoise colour here. I've always wanted to have a turquoise, and for some reason, ADHD, I've never actually been and bought one, so I mixed one the other day. Do you know, some episodes ago I was saying that I don't really like mixing my own paints, but turns out I can mix paints quite well to get the colours that I wanted to. And I got one on this guy here, which is my first ever miniature for the Skitari. And yeah, the colour's really nice, but I can't make it like that it's a light. So one of the things that I'll be doing probably towards the end of this project, and maybe at the end of this project and then carrying on afterwards, is still trying to learn how to do that and trying to make it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look like a light. It's a painted, three-dimensional object that doesn't actually have a real light source. It's going to be very difficult to make it look like a real light, but as close as damn it, frankly. And I'm a little bit frustrated that I can't seem to nail what seems to me in my head to be a very simple thing. The other thing that I'm not necessarily sure I like about it right now is that the orange is a very flat colour on him. The colour is very, very bright and vibrant. Hi, Staff. Thanks for coming along, mate. The colour is very vibrant. It really jumps out. Really, is quite a loud colour, muted down by the washes that make it look like it's dirty, worn, and gives it some, some depth, if you like. But I haven't put any highlights on this guy. I've done that deliberately to kind of mute it down. But I do feel that there are a few folds and creases and things that could be looking a little bit sharper if they were. So I'm thinking about getting the base orange colour out again. And just for example, let me point to my brush because it's a little bit easier using my fat sausage fingers. Like the knee here could be a really good place to put like a little highlight. And then just a few of the really big ripples that are in the cloak. I'm not going to do any edge highlighting. There's a couple of little ripples down here over his shoe. Every good Martian has a shoe. He has two. Yeah. So I didn't want to go crazy with it. Wasn't going to make the whole thing jump out. There's a little one in his sleeve here. But I just thought it might be nice to try and get some edging in there. Be really impressed. Really impressed? That sounds really rude. I'd be really interested to see what you think as a community. Should I do it? Does it look good like that? It's kind of cool. It's just, yeah. Is it cool? Is it not? I don't know. I mean, he looks all right, doesn't he? He's just a little bit... meh. I could be better. I've got a little cog icon on the back. I've got a little cog icon on the sort of weird claw thingy here. I've got to make those into the half black and white thing today. He's got a little light on the top up here. I don't know, like maybe some sort of Martian emergency services. So I'm going to try and colour that. I coloured the little lamp on him. I'm actually quite impressed with that, but it's a bit of a shame that you can't really see how good that is. Because there's so much silver around it, it kind of gets washed out. But if you look really carefully, if I bring him in nice and close to the camera, get a little bit of, yeah, there we go. So I thought, well, how do you make a light look like a light bulb? So I painted it yellow, like a really bright yellowy green. Actually, is this colour here? Probably stands on the edge of being a yellow or a green. What colour is this? It's livery green or light livery green. And then I washed it with Agrax Earthshade, which is a really, really dark brown, and it really worked, but you don't really see it anymore, which is a bit of a shame. So I don't know what colour to do this little light on the top. If I paint it like red or something like that, it might be too many warm colours. And that's one of the things that I'm getting from this miniature at the moment, or from this whole range, is that maybe there's just too many warm colours. I know silver's a nice cool colour, but it's a very rich colour, it's a very intense colour. So I don't know if that's enough to kind of compensate. So what I've been thinking about is maybe like highlighting a lot of the golds on here with like a really bright sort of gold or a bronzy sort of colour to just cool it off a little bit. That might be a complete waste of time, so I'm going to do it at the end if I feel it's necessary. But there's a few things that I do need to catch up on, which is this little effort that hangs around his belt here that goes into the back of his gun. That needs to be stained because at the moment it's not stained. I need to just finish off this little purity seal here. Obviously those two icons and the lights. And then it's just a little look at neatening them up. Get the base done, and we're done. I did do a thing with the hoses on him. I painted the hoses like different shades of grey and then stained them black to see if that would look good. What happens is they look grey rather than black. So what I'm going to do it in the other way. I'm going to paint them black, which I've gone back to, and then I'm going to highlight them with a lightish grey, and that should make them stand out a little bit without making them look grey, make them look black. And then what I didn't do last week is do this little coil of wire or whatever it is that goes around this weird hose thing here. You can see there's like a little coil, and on all my other models like this, I've painted that gold. So it seems like a bit to do, but the last couple of weeks I've had a really good progress with him, so hopefully we'll get somewhere. So let's just start with something simple. Let's just do the purity seal on him. Steve says that Corey really appreciates my work so far. Thank you very much, that's really kind. And we've got Dave's joined us. I see Dave. Hi Dave, thanks very much for coming along again. Cheers mate. Trebuchet. Oh, I've come in halfway through a conversation here. I was working on a trebuchet, but the council made me stop. Okay, right. Yep, one of those conversations. Not going to get involved in that. Happy Friday. Cheers. It's just a cup of tea. Right, so I don't think I need to do any more red on that purity seal, but I probably do need to just give it some depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of Nuln oil. Where have I put my Nuln oil? Here it is. Give that a quick shake, and I'll just pop a little bit of that in the red to stain it up. And that should just make the details in there pop. All gone very quiet. I stopped talking just as the music stopped. No, they're still talking about the trebuchet, and I've made my point. I'm not going to get involved in that conversation. So what I've done, I've not just only put a bit of Nuln oil in the purity seal itself, the little red bit at the top, I've also put a tiny little bit in between the two, I don't know what you call them, leaves? 2 bits of papery bits, just to kind of add a little bit of definition between the 2 pages, and a little bit around the outside just to make it stand out a little bit from the rest of the colours, because without it, the stain that I've used on the parchment, that's probably a good word for it, is it blends in quite well with the orangey background, and obviously red is a you know, red and orange so very close, so that should help kind of break it up a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same Nuln to just create some definition along this little pipe here. Now I know that I've normally been using Basilicanum Grey, but for such a small piece of detail, I just want to keep it nice and fast. Just a few of the spots where it looks like it needed it. I went back over these little weird plates that he's got on the side of him. They definitely look, they're supposed to be sort of memory disk things for the robots that they're supposed to control or program. I've made them look like traditional 20th century sort of circuit boards, if you like. But I've just noticed that to break up the concentration of silver on the centre part of the model, as I painted the tops of them black. I don't know why, just chose that colour. But on the ones that are on his belt down here, I've yet to go and correct that. So I need to go sort that out. And also, I have no idea what it is. Maybe Games Workshop can tell me. There's a weird little claw grabby thing. Some sort of, I don't know, looks like some sort of scepter. Can you see it up underneath in here? It's got a handle, which you can see is white at the moment in the background. And yeah, I need to kind of paint that on something. So yeah, I've still got a few things to do on here. But I'm going to carry on. What I'm going to do, before I forget about it, is I'm going to paint those little memory disk things. The tops of them, I'm going to paint them black. Now, I don't really know what to do about that weird scepter-y thing. This guy here, my Marshall, he's got like a scepter and it's got the same sort of handle on it. And I just painted it white, and then I coated it in Volupus Pink, if I ever say that right, which is a pink contrast colour. And I might, because it's got the same sort of handle, just to settle an argument within my own head, I might go and, you know, just paint it the same. Now, I've repositioned my studio microphone just today, trying to optimize where my voice is being picked up from. Is it now right in front of me rather than to the side? It's made very little difference on your camera, but it moved it a good foot. And I've also lowered it a little bit and repositioned it so that when I'm leaning down, it picks up my voice a little bit more. I'm actually being a bit quiet today because I've been home by myself and not really talking an awful lot. Not used to talking so much. But if it's better, let me know. If it's worse, let me know. If you can't tell the difference, let me know. Because I make the show for you. Look at that black I've just got all on those robes down there. Have not been concentrating. Yes, I would like to know. I make the show for you, so if my audio is rubbish, let me know. You can let me know in the normal channels. I'm going to need a little bit of airbrush cleaner, or I'll throw my paintbrush across the desk. Airbrush cleaner. Cool, here we go. Pop just a single drop of that down there. This is a trick that Luke Gallia told me about a year ago. You make a little mistake, just a tiny drop of airbrush cleaner on your brush. If you get in there nice and quick, there we go, gone. But it will start to agitate the stuff in the background if you haven't covered it with like a varnish, and that has started to go through the staining already. I can hide that so there's no issue. Steve says, sounds perfect, brew. Cool. Staff says, no difference. I have been absent for 2 weeks. That's fine, that's cool. Brilliant. I've just got to remember to maybe speak up as I lean forwards to start painting. I will start moving the microphone around the workbench to see if that kind of makes a difference. I was watching the video on replay. I try to do it as often as I can for the sake of quality. It's definitely not a narcissism thing. And I noticed how quickly my voice drops off if I start moving around. But like I said last week, I'm just a dynamic kind of a guy. Okay, cool. They're painted as best as I think I'm going to get them. Move that up. Ooh. Right, so now it's just that weird handle thing. So, where is my volupus pink? That's crimson. Here it is. Volupus pink. It's a weird colour. I don't know why I bought it. I don't really like purples very much. Purples and pinks, they can be a bit much. So when I bought it and I got it home, I was like, well, why did I bring this home? I've struggled to find any uses for it, and I can't remember what it was, that if there was a specific thing that I was supposed to be using it on, but I've already painted it a little bit white. It's kind of almost like so far out of reach, it's almost out of sight. But you know, if I don't paint it, every now and again you'll catch that little glance at it. And just generally, I know it's not been painted. Yet another warm colour. As if my conversation a minute ago wasn't enough. Got it on his cloak again. There we go. Nearly knocked over my paint, so I'll push that over there. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? What I do like about contrast paint, it's a one-hit wonder most of the time, especially in instances like that where it's so significantly out of the way that you can barely see it. You just paint a little drop on it, and you're done. Lovely. Okay. The purity seal looking really good down here now. Virtually dry. One of the things I'm going to have to do is paint a little bit of text on there, and that always makes me feel jittery, but I think I'll varnish him before I do that, because if I make mistakes on it, then I can basically scrub it out and have the varnish as a protective layer, so that I can always go back to it. Anyway, let's put the volupus pink away. Right. What do I want to do next? I think I'll do those icons. So I'm going to get a bit of white, and I'm going to neaten up the white that's already there. Now I've got a bit of a steady hand. I've actually done these quite a few times, and I've kind of practiced with them. But no matter how steady my hand is, I can never make it look as good as people at Games Workshop or whatever. So it's not just for having a steady hand and being neat and doing the edges or whatever. It is, I don't know, there's an art to it. Let's get another one for reference because the colour sides do matter. Okay, so it's white on the left-hand side of the cog and white on the right of the skull. Okie dokie. My hair keeps on touching the microphone and just on the edges of the clip. It keeps on putting me off. Now it's got one on the back over here. No, Steve, I'm not doing an accent. I don't know why I'd want to do an accent, but this is the internet, and I'm sure I will offend someone somewhere along the line. Now I've built up a reputation over the last few years, so no, I don't want to be involved in your trebuchet conversation. And I don't want to do an accent. Thanks for coming along, though. Okay. Got a little bit of white on my brush, so I will try and just neaten up the little light up here for whatever reason. What colour shall I do the light? Let me know. I was thinking about doing blue, but I think I just quite like their eyes being blue. But I could do in blue. I could do it yellow, but it just feels a little bit highway maintenance for me. And he's already got a yellowish searchlight thing. I don't know. I need more tanks there, staff. Well, lucky for you, a week tomorrow, we're going to Salute. So I might be able to pick you up some, unless you decide to come along. Because you were talking about going, but now your plans have changed and you're unable to go. But Dave, Kez and myself, we're all going. And Mike, who isn't with us at the moment, he's also going. Jeff's also going. So if you like, we can have a little look for you. Or we can buy ourselves some tanks and then tell you that we've bought some and not anything for you. Because you've got enough, let's be honest, right? You say a green light. But why a green light? I mean, yeah, I'll do a green light for sure. Why green? Right, do you know what? Let's give it a go. I'm going to use a little bit of Scorpina green, which I believe is just Scorpion green. Oh, Gundam models of 1/100. We could make up rules. Franchise slip. Right, what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to add a few drops of medium to water it right down, because it'll mean that it won't go on so opaque, which means that the white surface that I've already painted on that light will kind of shine through. And then if I add more of this on once that layer is dried, in certain areas I can make it look darker and deeper and kind of emulate a light source. I say this like I know what I'm doing, but as if you remember at the beginning of the show, I don't. So that's, yeah. I hope that it will turn out really well, but we'll see. And just one more drop of stuff. Here we go. Okay, that's quite runny, quite translucent. and that is actually really, really bright. So one of the things I have picked up from all the advice videos that I've been watching is bright colours. Okay, and as we can see, putting that on now, it's really, really thin, really translucent, and that's ideal. That means that it won't be white. I want to affect the whole surface of the light, and then what I'll do is I'll add more and more layers of this, but I'll be quite choosy as to what area I put it on. I'll probably try to, you know, either put it all at the top or all at the bottom. I'll probably put more on the bottom and have the light kind of shining up to the top. It's quite hard to paint an actual light like it was a transparent thing, but yeah, I'll give it a go. Okay, that's a good start. Maybe I'm good at painting light sources. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with that already. I think what I've got to do with the coil thing here, for example, there's two schools of thought. It's all about where the brighter parts are going to be. If we were to think about maybe a plasma rifle, because it's not a real thing, it's hard to consider what parts would be the brightest parts. So there's two schools of thought. The dips between the ridges would be the brightest, or the higher bits of the ridges would be the brightest. So then the darker colours would be on the opposite side, vice versa, if that makes sense. Now, I'm inclined to think, because I've been watching all the videos, that the lower bits, so the valleys, if you will, would all be the brightest, because it will be hotter in the middle, and as it kind of reaches the outside of those sort of ridges, it would get cooler. I don't know what's going on my focus today. It won't have it. There we go. So I've been doing that, and I'm just not doing a very good job, and it's all looking a bit messy because I've tried to go in there several times now. I think I need to have a brighter blue, and then darken it off, and then just neaten it all up. So what I need to do is get a white in all the lower parts. So if I go back to this guy with his weird little coil thing on the back of his backpack, the turquoise colour is the colour that I want the light source to be. The outer edges would be the darker turquoise colour, and then going in towards the dips would be bright, actually going into like a white ink colour. So that's opposite to how I used to do it, which I basically should paint it white, put on a watery blue, and then be done with it. It's actually the other way around. But then I need to make the outer edges of the turquoise cooler, so a darker layer of turquoise on top of that. And then I could just kind of put like a little thin line or dot of white on top of that to make it look like they're reflective or shiny, or, you know, whatever lights are playing on it. So yeah, that's it. That is the project. That is as simple as I can make it wordy. But trying to make it look good is really difficult, really, really difficult. Harder than it is trying to describe it, actually. Anyway, that white skull colour has dried. So now I'm going to just go back in with the paintbrush, just give it another pass over with some more white. I always start with the white on these little icons because I can then go over with the black, and it's just easier. So if I've gone like too far with the white, I can just kind of cut it back in with the black. Oftentimes I'll mess it up a couple of times and I'll have to kind of neaten it back in, but neatening up is so much quicker than painting over the whole thing. And then I'll have to put a little bit of black wash on it anyway to bring out the details on the white bit. And then I'll highlight the edges of the black bit. So there's a little bit of backwards and forwards going on these, but it looks okay. So let's go to this colour over here. So this is a white acrylic ink. It's by Liquitex. They're a very, very good brand. Lights are very bleachy today. Let's get that away. They're an incredible brand. They're one on the top. I've done a lot of research on them. There's quite a few brands out there that are very good. Liquitex was the easiest one for me to come across. To try and find a white ink was actually very difficult. Colours were easily accessible, but not so much the white. Anyway, I always give it a little bit of a shake. But basically, ink is, especially being acrylic, it dries fast. Inks are just incredibly runny, but also very, very opaque. So they're a good choice rather than watering down a paint that can. You can lose control by watering things down because it loses its surface tension. You can obviously water it down with mediums, but that kind of just spreads it out a bit more, so you kind of get more of a glaze. This is going to run into the recesses and is going to be very good at just creating pools of opaque colour. So like in the ridges of plasma guns and things like that. I'm going to put one little drop. It comes with a little bottle dropper. Like that. I've got one little drop of that. Now I've been using thinner to thin this down, but one of the videos I was watching today, The Source, you should go and check him out because he's really cool and he knows his stuff. And he says he doesn't really use thinners anymore, he uses flow improver. So rather than using thinners today, I'm going to use some flow improver and just see what the difference is with that. This is obviously an airbrush flow improver, but they do the same thing. That's just runnier, and I think in this instance that's going to benefit me. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of that white ink in the flow improver. To be fair, it can probably be thinner. I'll try a little bit of water in there, won't it? Okie dokie. I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to do it, see what happens. Do you know what? I'm actually going to use a smaller brush. I've got a teeny tiny brush here somewhere. Pop that there. Here we go. Here we are. Jeff says most of the Gundam models are 1/100s. Don't start encouraging them now. I'm going to be playing World War II games with a difference if you carry on like that. Okay, that seems to be working all right. Nice. Just making sure that was nice and even. And then in here, this is the trickier bit really, is getting this white ink. Basically inside this little gap, which I don't know if the camera's really picking it up very well, just basically little squares that look like little lights or more, which is like a plasma gun sort of thing, but they are little squares. So I'm just going to drop that in. There we are, that's run around them now. If I just wash the brush off, dry the brush, and I can now just get the very fine tip of this brush and just drop it on those square things. That should just, with capillary action, just lift the white colour out, and has now left the white running around the outsides. And yeah, what I need is a darker version of that turquoise. I remember the colours that I used, I think I do. And yeah, should be able to make it look darker on the outside edges there. It's just one of those things I think I just need to keep on practicing, Anyway. I'm going to go back to the light that we've done up there, and I can actually see where gravity has assisted the medium that I mixed up, and it's run down to the bottom and it's made it darker at the bottom, and that actually looks quite cool. Good shout, Kez, thanks very much. Leslie, thanks. In that mix of green now, just to break up that surface tension, because I want it to kind of run more now down to the bottom, so where I put this on, water will help break the surface tension and it will run away. I am still making sure that I go all around that light. Just make sure that there's, you know, no real bright white shining through. I want it to be like a really, really pale green at the top and then getting darker and darker at the bottom. But I'm also just kind of coming at the back with the darker colour to make it, I don't know, the light is spinning. So I feel that that should be a thing. Spinny roadwork lights. And it might just help give the impression of a light source. There we go, that's looking cool. And what I might do is I'll add another layer of this, maybe two, of this medium, and then I might get like a slightly darker green and just put a real thin watery mix right at the bottom, just to kind of define that bottom edge against the little lip that is there. I wonder if you can see that. Actually, it's showing up as white on my monitor. Lights are bleaching it all out today. I do have like this little dot here, which I think is supposed to be like a little light. So all their backpacks are slightly different. Some of them have got lights on, some of them haven't. So I might do that as well. Okay, cool. While all that's drying, let's go to the black. I've still got a little bit of black here, but I'm going to add a little bit more to it. I'm going to do the other sides of those little cog and skull icons. Leslie says the model's looking good. Thanks, man. I was just reading through all the silly conversations about Gundams versus tanks and going pop like balloon, but thanks very much. I really appreciate that. It's very kind. To be honest, the little lights are looking better than I thought that they would do by this stage, so that's good. On the inside of the gun down here, you can see that I just coloured in there a little bit of white ink, and then I put a little bit of watered down turquoise in there. But it's so hidden and out of the way you can't really see it, so yeah, that looks kind of cool. That's alright. Right, so the black sides of these icons. Should I be using this brush or another? Let's use this one for a minute and see how it goes. If I don't finish them off today, I've actually got a day off on Sunday. I go back to work tomorrow, but I'm straight away having a day off after that. And then I will make sure that I spend enough time to have them finished. Because I'm aware that one of the things that I need to do to finish him is the base. And typically the paints that I use on the base, they take a little while to dry. If I get to that point in the by the break, then I can nip downstairs and go and get it, but there's no point in having it if I'm not going to use it. Okay, one side of the cog. I'll let that dry before I move on to the side of the skull, and I'll do this one over here. I'm just adding a tiny drop of water into this black paint. Such a small area that I'm working on, having a slightly looser paint is quite handy. Making sure that I've got a really fine point on my brush. Actually watered that down a bit too much, but it is being quite useful for getting right up against the side of that skull. Use it like a bit of a wash and it kind of just runs out in front of the brush a little bit. And in this instance, it's actually quite useful. Oh, it's making my eyes go funny. Okay. while I've got black here, I'm waiting for that to dry. I'm just going to make sure that I've got all of the hoses on him that are I want to be black, making sure that they've got a good coating of paint on them, because there's a few that look a bit scrappy where I've been painting around. That'll do there. Actually, I could do the underside of that one as well. Nice. One of the reasons I've actually got him finished up to this point is because I was experimenting with different ways of painting all these weird limbs, like weird sort of cybernetic attachment things. Just trying to work out, you know, what gave the best results, nice and fast. So, like I say, I tried so many different shades of grey, and then I put, you know, like black washes over them. I used black contrast paints, watered down contrast paints. One of my favourites is Basilicanum Grey watered down 50/50. That works really well on silver, but none of them really worked on the hoses. Now, so the idea was to make all the hoses look like they were black, but I don't really like painting things black. I like to paint them grey and then sort of shade them black. It makes them stand out, but these details are so small that it doesn't do anything for it at all. So it was back to black. He's also got these big cable things that come out the side of his head, and it would be nice if they were a nice colour, but they're so small that if I tried to paint them all individual colours, I would surely ruin it. So I'm not going to. What's everyone looking forward to at Salute? Bridges. I'm going to be looking for 15mm bridges. I'm going to be looking at bridges from Debris of War. I've been looking at his website for ages, and I'm fairly confident I'm going to walk away with both of the bridges that he does. He does a double arch and a single arch bridge, and they're glorious. But also Sarissa do them as well. They're not as... well, they're just a totally different product, really, from a Debris of War. Sarissa do them, I think that they're MDF, or at least kind of laser cut wood. And, well, they do, like, archway extensions. And one of the problems I've got on the terrain boards that I'm building, featured a few episodes ago, is that they don't span the distance. But I've actually got an alternative method for that, which is about building the riverbanks inwards rather than outwards. And I'll explore that on another video separately, but yeah, so I've got a couple of options. It'll certainly be nice to go and see the Sarissa stuff. I'm fairly confident I'm going to buy the stuff from Debris of War. Just nice stuff. And of course the 28mm versions. Jeff, my dad at Purple Lion Creations, in the live chat now, made those original sculpts for him, and now Debris of War, Anthony, I believe, or Tony, he molds them by permission and sells them, and they are fantastic. But obviously I play 15mm war games, historical ones anyway. Cool. Right, back to the skull icons. I'm going to go back to the cogs and just make sure that they've got enough opacity. because even though they're so small, if you don't paint them to cover the colour underneath, they still do look really tacky, and they show up even though they're really, really small, because these icons, I suppose, they stand out, especially against the rest of the colours, and they're right there at the front of the miniature, and then right on the back they really stand out. But because they're three-dimensional, like they have a surface to them, they stand out three-dimensionally from the actual base of the model. You've got to get the edges of it as well, which is what I'm just about to do now. So make sure that the paint is nice and fluid there. And now I'm just going to paint the edges of this cog. Black on this side, white on the other. But yeah, I do need to go do the white. Need a bit more paint. It's just watery now. Okay, that's good. That's cool. So I'm going to go back to this cog over here, make sure that I've done the same with this one. Make sure it's nice and opaque actually on the icon itself. Paint the raised edge. Just like that. That light's looking really good there. Nice one, Kez. Thanks very much for suggesting green. It's looking really good. Green means go. Okay, now it's time to paint the skull sides of those icons. This is where it all goes really, really wrong. First of all, what I'm going to do is get a bit of Nuln oil. And I'm just going to wash over the whole of the icon. And what this is going to do is it's going to run in around the actual skull motif and around the cogs, get in the teeth and get in the skull details, and just kind of make those pop out a little bit, so that I can see roughly where to paint to make it look, you know, nice and tidy. And then because I'm essentially going to filter that white colour, I'm going to go back in on the flat surfaces of the icon and neaten it up with the white, like that. So now I can see that, you know, it's filled in the eye sockets, for example. Is it going to come in focus? Is it? Yeah, you can see that the details of the skull kind of popped out a little bit now. Nice. And now on the side over here. And I'll let that dry. Someone's talking about What a Cowboy, the new game by Two Fat Lardies, who obviously did What a Tanker. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun. I don't know if I'm going to get any models for it, but if anyone actually owns it or is thinking about owning it, I'd love to play around to have a go with it. It would just be another game that I've got to buy more terrain for, more scenics and things. But I've been told really good things about it, so great. Face it down, you're going to be painting cowboys sometime soon, says Jeff. No, I've got too much stuff, man. I've got too much stuff. Honestly, too much stuff. Face it. Right, I think one more layer of this green. Just going to pop a little drop on the palette over here. And I'm going to, again, add some medium to that. I don't know why I shaped the medium. It's not like it's got any pigment. It's going well. It's going smooth. I thought it was going to be a bit slower going, but I'm liking the progress here. Thanks for the company, guys. It's always nice, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. A little bit of water to it again, just to help it sort of flow to the bottom. And the next layer I do on it will be a darker green, just picking out the bottom of the light. Looking quite cool. It doesn't want to focus, does it, today? It doesn't want to do it at all. Whatever. So, if Salute is next weekend, will there be no Easy 8? Good question. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, I hope there will be an Easy 8 next week. Because actually, I think Salute's on the Sunday, and we actually plan to leave on the Saturday, if that is correct. But the closer that the weekend gets throughout the week, I will be on Facebook to let you know. So, yeah, we should be going ahead on Friday as planned. And even if we are leaving on the Saturday... Sorry, no. We are leaving on the Saturday, go on the Sunday. Yeah, if we're leaving on the Friday, I won't be able to do it. I will do it on the Thursday, was what I was going to say there. Yeah, you're right, Steve. It does go out of focus when I pick it up. It has got autofocus. There we go. Now it's coming to play, look. But the lights are bleaching out the green, unfortunately. Yeah, I used to leave it in a single focus, but I would move the model up and down, and it annoyed people and me. So, yeah, it's autofocus. But it's only a Logitech webcam. I say only. For a webcam, it's brilliant. But one of the hardware upgrades that I'll be looking at in future months will be to get a better dedicated camera for here. I've been looking at getting SLR digital cameras, but they cost thousands. But I could actually buy the Elgato face cam, which I've been exploring because I've got the Elgato Stream Deck. They work in tandem, and it is one of the highest end quality webcams out there. It just doesn't actually have an autofocus, so while it has like a field of focus. So hopefully, working in this area of the bench, it should be appropriate. But it's top grade stuff, basically. Oh, Dave says we're going on Friday for Saturday. You're probably right. I just couldn't quite remember which one it is. Because I've been thinking about the London Marathon, which is on the day after the show. I can't remember if that's on the Sunday, but now I've said that out loud, it sounds like that's the case. So basically, if we're leaving on the Friday, I won't be able to do the show, so I will be doing it on the Thursday, if I can. But I will keep you updated. So if you haven't already, like us, follow us on Facebook. Again, the link to that is just down there in the description of the video. Anyway, we're getting pretty close for a bit of a break, so let's see if I can get used to using the new Stream Deck. It's just making sure that I hit the right buttons and things. So thanks, Steve. It's looking handsome, mate. Cheers. Yeah, just need that autofocus to come in. Obviously, got to finish off the skull icons. They're looking really cool, actually. I don't think I really need to neaten up that white. That's actually, I seem to have got the right... This new mix of non-oil, they've changed the recipe. I used to hate non-oil, but this stuff is really, really good, and that has done wonders for that white. I don't think I'll need to touch that white again unless I mess up with the black. I've just got to do the opposite sides of the skulls to the icons black now. And now, obviously, I've got to put white on the raised edges of the skull icons. Finish off that light. Polish up the gold. Then hopefully I can do the OSL thing that I've been wanting to do. And then varnish. Varnish, then do the little purity seal text, and then straight on to the base. Oh, and somewhere in there I've got to highlight the hoses. No wazzing, says Stafford. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave Steve in the blank with that one. No, I've not needed to waz this evening. Not on air anyway. It's a family show. Right, I'm gonna go for a break. Go change your paint water. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. Jeff was just saying, just as we went into the break there, that absolutely he needs to get some things. So it says I need thing, but I think that's things for this huge bocage build. Things to put on the sections, things like oil drums, jerry cans, stone cross for the crossroads, roadside shrine, stuff like that. Well, obviously we've been looking at some of the. I say obviously only to me and you, but earlier on today, excuse me, I just had a cup of tea. That's just. It's coming back up. Earlier on today, we were having a look at some of the traders that were going to be absolute. There's still no floor plan yet, but it's looking like it's going to be one of the biggest events ever. So there's going to be loads of stuff there to go and have a little look at. So yeah, put together like a little shopping list of maybes and wants and things like that, and then we can go around together and help you find everything that you need. I assume that it's going to be in 28mm, but lately you've been doing 20mm builds, which is quite an unusual scale. But whatever it is that you're doing, let us know, because we can go around and help you, because there's a big Easy 8 contingent going there. Anyway, if you do like what we do here at Easy 8, please don't forget that you should subscribe. Please just subscribe. That's it. Yeah. Just subscribe. Subscribe to the show. I'm not going to say any more on it. Subscribe. Thanks, then. Anyway, I'm just going to take you straight back to the workbench, because it's going well. My voice is really struggling today. Just subscribe. Yeah, I've done the hoses. I just got a little bit of Dawnstone Grey, and I just watered it down a little bit with some flow improver just on the edge of the brush, and I just kind of ran it down the side of the hoses. It wasn't the best in the world, but it's definitely a technique that I can get better at. It's not like standard edge highlighting where you go, here's a cocktail stick, for example. If I was edge highlighting, I'd use the edge of my brush and I'd travel in the direction of the line that I want to highlight. But obviously with the hose, there's lots of, I'm going like down the direction of the hose, but the hose itself has is it parallax or parallel? Yeah, going in the opposite way. Lots of little lines. So like traveling down that, it kind of it's a little bit weird. You need to kind of like have the brush this way to go down and pick up all the little ridges. If you go this way, actually, you seem to deposit too much on them in one go. So yeah, it's just one of those things I have a little practice on. But they are looking much better. That cable bundle in here, I've just realised it's got loads of little clasps around it, like keeping all the cables together. They need to be picked out, probably with a gold. There's a little wire at the top up here, which I think I might paint gold as well, again, just to sort of break up the silver that's up there. And there's this little cable bundle going into the side of this little box effort here, and into the side of his head. I did try to do that, the grey with black wash idea. It didn't really work, so in a minute I'm going to have a go at trying to highlight that with a grey to bring those out. There's also some little clasps on there too. It's like every time I look at it, there's something more to go and do. But I don't know if you can see so well, the icon on his hand is looking really good. Yeah, and the icon on his backpack is also looking really good, but I just need to do the other half, the left-hand side of the skulls. Leslie says, sounds like a cool place to get a lot of stuff. How often is Salute open, out of curiosity? It's just it's a games show, games convention that's on once a year. It seems to change venue every single time. And it's 1 day event. I thought it used to be 2, and they've just gone to 1 day since COVID, but a reliable source, Mike, who isn't online this evening, said that it usually is. It has only ever been a 1 day event. But it's such a massive gathering of traders and gamers that I think there's going to be a lot of traders from Europe as well, so there's going to be lots to see. And if there's anything in particular that you would like to get from there, or to kind of have a little look at, if you like, send me a list of things that you're interested in if you're unable to make it, and I will send photos through Facebook so that you can see what's there, and then I can pick things up for you if you wish. Yeah. Jeff says, just think French dirt roads and stuff like that. Partisan show is a good one, but that is twice a year, but way up north. Well, if we're going just once or twice a year, then it's worth travelling to, if you want my opinion. Worth having a little look at. Of course, Exeter is the closest one to us, and that is in May, I believe, which is Legionary show, which is definitely a good one for the locals to go to. So if you're local to me, go to that one. It's great. Of course, not if you're overseas, because we got quite a few overseas viewers. I actually had a breakdown on the viewers the other day, and I could see what countries they come from. Most of our viewers come from the UK. A very heavy percentage come from the US. Then there's some Canadians, there's some Indians, some South Africans, Nigeria. Yeah, it's quite a spread that we've got. We are a global show, which is wonderful. Thanks very much. Subscribe. Cheers. I'm just going to do the other side of those skulls now before I forget or kind of lose concentration. It seems to be happening a lot. Okie dokie. Get a little bit of black. I'm just going to put a touch of water in there. Being that they're airbrush paints that I'm using, the slightest bit of water really does change the consistency of them quite quickly, so adding too much water can be really bad. Okay, it's probably going to go quiet now while I focus and concentrate, so I apologise for that in advance, but here we go. Just trying to get a steady grip, steady hand. Start on the outside edge of the skull and work my way into creating a straight line down the middle that I try to match up with the cog. Not the best coating I've got, but fairly good attempt. I don't think I had an awful lot of paint on the brush. Probably my problem. That's better. Still not bad first shot though. Just going around the side of the skull. There we go, that seems to have gone rather well. Could just have like a white cog and a black skull or the other way around, could they? Oh no, no. Had to do a 50-50 split on both. Actually on the cog, doesn't come all the way around, so just try and bring that into the middle a little bit more. Basically at the top and bottom of the cog there's like one tooth, there's not like a tooth either side of the colour split, so you've actually got to get the colour halfway along one of the cog teeth. There we go, like that. At the top that's actually looking pretty good. Nice, and in a minute I'll just come in with a little bit of a grey highlight over the skull and cog, and it should just pick the edges up. And I might do that in the same way that I did the hoses, but I stand a chance of ruining it if I'm not careful. Got a bit of a tickly cough, sorry. Okay, that green light is looking really cool. I really wish that the camera would pick it up. Well, to be fair, on my camera, it might actually be picking up on your end, but well, like I've said so many times, the monitor that I view back the show is just awful. And I was about to replace it, but I bought a Stream Deck instead. Now, I was weak, and I'm sorry, alright? It's just a piece of hardware, is the Stream Deck, that is going to be so useful for future hardware developments, because I can use it as a Wave XLR as well, so it can basically control all my sound channels and all my cameras. I can't control the cameras that I've got, unfortunately. It has to be an Elgato one, but the Elgato cameras are fantastic, so it's definitely a step in the right direction. was actually a very good halfway split of the skull. I was expecting to be on that for a little bit longer. Okay, I'm actually really happy with that. That's gone on really, really well. Wonderful. Okay, well, while I've got a little bit of the grey there still on the side, I might just go back to that. I watered it down with a little bit of flow improver, so I just wipe off the majority of that paint from my brush. Still leave a little bit on there. Should be able to use the tip of it just to kind of run along the edge of the skull and cog icon. Enough just to pick out the little details on there. And it only needs to be the tiniest amount as well. If I go in too heavy, it's going to look like a big splodge of grey. And that will ruin it. Jeff says, do like the red and orange with the oily metal colour. Very nice, mate. Thanks very much. Yeah, I think it works. It's just, I think the orange, I just need to do a little bit more with it. Like maybe picking out some of the edges and things. And silver's a hard colour to work with. Well, the effects of this grey highlight are so subtle, but it has done a world of good actually. Just lick the end of my brush just to kind of activate the paint that's in there. Nice, right, brilliant, done with that. Still think the model overall is looking killer. Thanks. Cheers, mate. Right, back to the green light. Let's choose a darker green. I don't know if I want to go that dark. That's the darkest green I've got. That's probably a bit too much. If I went for a little bit of goblin green, that might just be it. Do you know what? Just for staff. Because I'm using it in such small amounts today that I'm not really mixing them up. But just for staff. Here we go. Just for you. I'm going to put it on the EasyGate Waz-O-Matic and give it a really good Waz. For those of you that are watching this for the first time, really sorry about the terminology. To be fair, I don't think I've used this green for a while, so it's probably good to give it a good Waz. Good opportunity to use the WAS button that I programmed earlier, at the very least. I'm wondering though, sick green or goblin green? That was goblin green that I just used there. Let's have a little look at the sick green. I think sick green's actually going to be better. Okay, goblin green can go away. I just did. Put my finger right in the black paint. Okay, wash that off. Oh, it's going so well. Thought that felt a bit splotchy when I moved the moved the palette. Just put my finger in it and give it a turn. I thought this was a family show, not a Sam Smith video. I'm not going to say a word. Saying anything. Right. Let's get a little bit of. Do you know what? I'm actually going to water it down. I don't want there to be much surface tension in that green, so water is the best tool to use here. Excuse me. Oh, that tea is diffusing on me. Okay, so I really just want this to be at the bottom of this light. what I'll do is I'll take some photographs of this later on, like I always do, and I'll pop them on Facebook at the end of the show, so that you can see what it is that I've been referring to if the camera hasn't picked up, especially this little green light. It's actually looking really good, and I think I've nailed the colouring here. I just hope that I can do the same on the coil and on the gun as well. Wonderful. That's really worked there. Thanks, Kez. Right. I am going to just do a little bit of golding, I think. I'm actually going to use polished gold. I normally use glorious gold, which you can see the colour there. You can see the colour on the actual model, but if I use polished gold, it's a much brighter colour. It might be an interesting colour to use to highlight things that are already gold. I don't really highlight my metals very much. Metallics are a weird thing to work with, but let's just give this a bit of a go. Very, very watery paint. It might just be because I haven't waxed it. Watery might be a really cool side effect. It's really, really bright. Look at that. I'm thinking I just did like a tiny little dot just here. Tiny little dot there. Just a few pipes and things that I've painted on him that might stand out a bit more now. Okay, it's like a weird cabley thing running out the back of his gun. I've already painted gold and added brown washes to blend it in, but picking it out again with a little bit of polished gold actually looks pretty good. Kind of pops it back on the map again, really. Quite nice. Not going all over the gold area, it's just in little raised spots here and there, makes it look quite nice. Okay, I've got the weird sensor. Actually, not like a sensor as in sensing things, but spreading around incense, because these guys are essentially fighting monk things. Trying to wipe most of it out of the brush, so basically I'm kind of dry brushing it. That's actually quite a nice effect, because I used Agrax Earthshade, which is a really dark brown wash on this particular detail here, so it's really quite tarnished, burnished, and all the other things that end in st. Nice. Oh, I quite like that. That's a really nice little colour, that one. Might try and use more of that in the future. It's very gold. It's very polished gold. Funny that, isn't it? Okay. Well, I've got this tiny little pipe at the top up here that I'm going to try and paint with. Because it's so small, I might as well just do it with this particular gold and see how different it looks compared to all the other bits. If you leave it on its own, it's actually very, very pale. Okay, well, that's fine. I've got the other gold here as well. Yeah, the difference in the colours is completely different. So if I just get a fine point on here, there we are. It just adds a little something to the top end of this little weird arm that he's got. If up and lift boxes. Shopping for old ladies and he's crossing the Martian Road. Whatever it is he's doing. Actually, it's got like a little light in there as well that I haven't really paid any attention to. So as I'm going around, I'm finding all these little details. So I don't think I'm actually going to finish him tonight, but I'm going to get very close to it, I think. Right. These bands on these cable bunches, they're going to be gold as well. Let's wash this brush out. I'm going to go to my tiny brush. So, yeah, the big bundle of cables that are coming out the bottom of his backpack here, he's got little little bundles on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to do those gold. Because there's so much silver on them already. I think a little bit of gold will break it up a little. And I'm going to try and be as careful as I can. Make sure that I've read all the comments. Should have said still got a load of vomit green from Leslie's build. I've actually got a lot of greens. I'm quite a fan of painting with green colours. It's a beautiful colour to work with. I've got quite a range in Citadel and in Vallejo. Oh, a little bit heavy there, so just going to wash the brush out. Going to neaten up the areas around the brush. A bit of water on the brush. And just neaten up the edges around there. Oh, not a bad job actually. Missed a bit over there too. Let's go back and clean it up. Probably left that bit there too long. No, let's clean it alright. Okay. It's quite a difficult detail to pick out. There's so many other details that are getting in the way that I can't really see around it, and when I can, the shadows of the other details get in the way. Quite a nightmare to paint. I lose all depth perception when I go in there. I'm just kind of like splodging up against details. That doesn't look so bad. It looks alright. Okay, I want to try and highlight the pipes on this before I do the clasps on there, so let's have a look. Where's that grey colour that right beside the bit where I put my finger in it all? Right. I'm going to keep with this brush now because these pipes are really, really small. I must stay with this little tiny brush. And I think if I run I might pick up the edges. I might have to go in with a little bit of black wash just to kind of neaten it up, but that is doing the job. Okay. how are everybody else's projects coming on this evening? If you're working on something this evening, do let me know. Like I said earlier on, I genuinely am interested in what it is that you're working on. So if you've got a little project on the go, tell us a little bit about it. Maybe drop a photo of it over at Facebook, or you can do it on Discord if you want to. Because I genuinely do like seeing what other people have been making. It's nice to see. Nice to get a little bit of inspiration, motivation from the fact that other people are doing stuff too. It's always nice. Okay, so I think that's about as much highlights I'm going to get on those before I start basically filling in the lines. So now I'm just going to get a bit of Nuln Oil, and I'm going to see if I can just make the recesses pop a bit. Budgie head. Well, that's better. Right. Yeah, that seems to be doing the job. While I'm at it, I'll just drop some of this stuff into the hoses as well, because a few places I think I went a little bit crazy. Just a couple of places there. Right. Hopefully that will dry now. I'm going to put a little bit more on this thing that goes in the back of his gun. Just did one little coat of it earlier on. I could do with another. Okie dokie. I've also been thinking about if I want to highlight the oranges in any way. It's like I was saying at the beginning of the show, like the crease on top of the knee and some of the folds and whatever. I think I might do those once I've sort of varnished it, because if I don't like it, then with the varnish there as a protective layer, easy to kind of go back and use a little bit of cleaner to kind of mop that paint up. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave that for a bit. That green light is looking really cool. Glad we decided on that. I say we, it was definitely a Kez thing. Right. Making sure that I've got all those little bits and pieces. It is just down to the golds now, really. Oh yeah, look at that. There is a little bit underneath this coil. That's the other bit that I was looking for earlier. Let's move the palette back around without putting my finger in it. There you go. A little bit of paint. A little bit of gold. There we go. So, back to the glorious gold, which is the darker of the two. And again, with a really tiny brush here, just going to get in underneath this coil. Paint those like that. It will need a bit of staining, but I should be able to get that done this evening. What time are we at now? 25 to. I know that time will go very, very quickly, but I think I can get a lot of this done this evening without even rushing it, which is great. Definitely going to have this finished this week, which is great, because I'm really slow at these things. Got a really dry mouth. There we go. Yum. Jeff says, what the life of one of your pro paints? I know what you're saying. What's the life of one of your pro paints? Is that what you're saying? Would it be worth an hour just putting them through the WAS every now and again, just to keep them alive, if you get me? Yes, it probably is. I've had these for 4 or 5 years, 3-4 years. And they're absolutely fine. I just think, yeah, they need to be kind of agitated every now and then. Luke Fellows, Luke's Advanced Painting Services, did a whole feature on YouTube about how he likes to actually mix his paints. He went really into the science of it, probably a bit too far for my needs or my level. But he really broke it down, and it wasn't just a case of emptying the paints out into new dropper bottles that he didn't stop with just putting ball bearings in them. He actually started adding like a bit of, I think it was like flow improver into each of the paints to make sure that they are all mixed. And he really knows what he's talking about. The differences. The actual, you could see them on the screen. It wasn't like he was just talking rubbish. He really knew his stuff. So there is a lot to be said about, taking the consistency of your paints really quite seriously. I don't think I'm really that good. So I'm not going to bother with it. Just making sure that I'm going around this little coiled wire. I can't get around the back side of it without potentially snapping the whole detail off, so I'm just going to leave it to here really, and that'll be good enough, because you can't see around the side over here, and I've actually got it around pretty close anyway. There we go. Nice. And of course, on the last little brush there, I've got a tiny little bit on the hose. Literally the last brush stroke. So I'm just going to go in now with a slightly damp brush and see if I can just lift that up. It's probably going to spread it around. I'll have tiny little gold glittery sparkle bits there forever and ever. What can you do? If I was going with a little bit of cleaner now, I'd probably pick off all the highlights that I put on the hose there, but that's good enough right there. Wonderful. What I'll do in a minute is I'll get a little bit of Agrax Earthshade and I'll just drop it on this little bit at the bottom of the coil, and that should settle that as a colour, because it stands out a little bit at the moment. It literally is now just the last few details going in, so I'm pretty happy about that. And of course I still got to finish the coil off, but I'm okay. I'm okay with the progress that we've done tonight. Like I say, I've only been working on it for a couple of weeks, and that is literally like a couple of hours here and there, so that's really good going for me. Really pleased about that. I'm going to put some little clasps on here. That needs a little bit of gold paint as well. The non-oil was dried on there. Just this flipping bocage, over 100 sections of it. Over 100 sections. That's mental. Like, are you actually making Villa's bocage? Well, rather you than me, mate. Okay, I can't actually see that clasp very well here. I just have to keep moving it backwards and forwards, and then just getting lower and lower and lower until I actually get the detail. If I was just to go in like that, I'd probably end up missing it completely. Do you know what? Not bad. A little bit out of shot there. It just don't go away. Green. Everything is green. yeah, I bet it is. Is it 100 sections that you've got now, or is it that you've got to build? Have you built them or the most of them? And is it because last week I said that you specialise in bogage that this seems to have happened? If that's the case, I'm sorry, but you know, I shouldn't grumble about doing work in, right? I think I've ruined that last little bit there. Oh well, you can barely see it anyway. Be happy with what you've done. I did this horrible little wash thing on the top of his head to try and make the detail stand out, and now I'm looking at it and like, what was I thinking? It's genuinely awful. I probably need to go and neaten it up at some point, but you know, whatever. I'll do that later. Okay. Just going to go in with a little bit of nuln around those gold bits that I've done, just around the edges, because a few of them, they're actually quite rubbish. The one at the bottom here, there's quite a bit of overspill down there. I don't know if you can really see that so well. At last class, they look really untidy, so hopefully I can sort of neaten them up a little bit. Just as that's what I'm doing, it's all piled up in stacks and stacks. Photos or it's not true. What I'm going to say. Show the community. That's not really doing a very good job of hiding that at all. What have I done on top of his head? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Little Martian man. Oh well. Right, let's get some Agrax Earthshade out, and I'm just going to do those last little bits of gold that I've just done. Agrax Earthshade. Okay. Move your paint away from your fingers, you klutz. Right, at the top up there, there we go. That changes that completely. And there's one under the coil thingy, whatever this coil thingy is. Just changes that gold colour completely. But the clasps, I think I'll leave those. It says, as it actually goes and does them. Ugh. ADHD, man. You couldn't just leave it, could you? Nope. That one under the coil there just needs a little bit more. Just needed to sit it between those two details. Just darken it off. There we go. That's it. And if it could just stay there, that would be wonderful. Thanks. Lovely. I think now what I'm going to try and do is probably just neaten up the top of his head, because that's a really awful highlight that I've got up there. So if I just come in with a little bit of chainmail silver, I don't even know what colour it is that I've used up there, but it is dreadful. I wonder if you can see that colour, top of his head. What? Looks like someone's vomited on him. I don't know. Looking great. Cheers, Dave. Thanks very much as I'm sitting here slating my own work. Always nice to have some friends. Thank you very much, mate. I'm just going to paint it again. And I'll wash it all down with some Nuln, perhaps. Like I say, absolutely used to hate Nuln oil, but since they've changed the recipe for that, I really like it. Again, it's done me a really big favour. The new Agrax, I haven't really used it an awful lot yet to really know how much that's changed, if it's good or not. I don't really know. Anyway, we're getting very, very close to the end of the show, so if there's anything that you wanted to bring up before we go anywhere, now is a very good time to bring it up, I suppose. Right, I'm gonna probably have another go with that white idea that I did earlier on. It seems to have dried a little duller, which is fine. I just need to come back to it. Maybe I need a bit more in there, a little bit more spill of colour. Sure that is done up nice and tight. That is one of those bottles that I do not want to spill everywhere. A bit of flow improver. Here we go. Okie. Again, I think we're going to use the tiny brush. I'm doing so many tiny details today. Stay with it. One of those things that I know that I need to just practice, and I have a tendency to want to rush my projects when I'm doing a show, because I want to be able to cover more, I want to be able to do more and kind of show you that I can do it, I suppose, kind of like to the world, but actually it takes time, obviously. I suppose what I need to do now is get like a dark turquoise and just on the edges. It's almost like low lighting, isn't it? I suppose, and just kind of darkening off the edges of these coils, and it should make it look like it's glowing. So I suppose the last thing I'm going to do this evening here on the show is just have a go at mixing that colour. Now if I bring in my palette on the side here, this is where it looks really bleached out on my screen. But I was using, not a Scorpina, I was using Light Livery, I think it was Light Livery, and Electric Blue Boogaloo. And I think I just did 2 drops of each. No denying it, it's not actually a green, that is a yellow. I will use a bigger brush to mix these in. I'm looking for a colour that is actually a little bit darker. That's actually still a little bit blue at the moment, so I'll probably drop in yellow. Is that going to make it go more greeny? Probably. Probably a bit too far at the moment. So I'm not trying to replicate the colour that I've already made. I added a tiny bit of white to this the last time, and that really changed the colour. I can see the colour that I've got here on the palette. What I've got here is actually quite a bit different. It's very aqua at the moment. If I add a drop of white, I'm actually going to add white paint and not white ink. Very close to that original colour. This is why I don't really like mixing paints, is that when I know that I need to go back and achieve that same colour, for whatever reason, I'm never going to be quite on target. Even though I remembered how much I used of every single colour, this is still slightly different. But remember, I want to be achieving a slightly darker colour today anyway. So this is actually okay. I probably could do it going quite a bit darker than this. So I'm actually going to think about adding another drop of blue into this mix. Oh, let's just bubble that out of that bottle. There we go, that's better. And now I might add a tiny drop of slightly darker green than what I've been using. Let's try a little bit of Escalpina. Some comments going in here. I think I'll be looking for a Russian green spray. Can salute. Yeah, rattle can those T-34s. Yeah, because well, you know, that's the Soviet army for you. Don't make it look nice. Yeah, got your new 88 magnet. Yeah, that was quite a game we played the other day. I don't know what that new tank was that you had, but it was a big Soviet tank, and before you even got to move it, the Tiger ate it straight away. It was quite a big deal, that. How to make this go darker? Do I add dark green into this mix? What do I do? If I add black, is that going to ruin it? Would black ruin it? Because obviously white lightens it, but would black? Do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to put it in. I'm going to give it a go. That's too much black. I just like the tiniest drop. I think I can work with that. That is actually not that bad. Black is not the colour that I think I'll use in the future. .152s, is that what it was? 152s. How it's around. God dear, it's a big old tank. That it's a big old tank. But yeah, we didn't really see it being used, did we? Because, well, you know, tigers, right? Okay, so I've got my now darker. Black has done the job. My darker turquoise, and all I'm going to do now is just literally around the outsides, the outer edges. It's making my eyes go funny again. The outer edges here. Need a stem tiger. No, you don't. Turns out this wasn't dark enough, but never mind. Might call it there with the OSL on this guy for a little while. It's certainly the best lighting that I've done on a model. Yeah. Unfortunately now it just looks like I've got white stripes in there, but you know, I tried. It's very, very difficult. What I might do is add like some medium to it, make a glaze or something perhaps. Anyway, that I think is as far as I'm going to get this evening. I'm really quite happy with it. I'm really quite chuffed with it. It looks all right. It's looking good. So just a few features left to do on there now. Neaten up the top of that head. Get some text on this little purity seal down here. And I think there's a couple of little lights on him. I might do the little light in his claw up there. There's a couple of little lights on his backpack, or at least one just here, which I think I might. It's very blurry again. Might see if I can sort that out as well. What do you think about my OSL? It's not. I keep calling it OSL. Glowy coil things. Leslie's having to leave. Thanks very much for coming along, Leslie. Always nice to see your name there in the live chat. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah. What do you guys think? Tatty bye. That green light is looking wicked, though. I am just gonna. There's a little bit missing on that green light, which I'm just gonna come back in with that darker green that we used earlier. Loads of water. Keep nice and runny. That's better. It's a little bit there where the two lines haven't met up, going around the bottom circumference of that light. Now it looks nice. Yeah, well, there we go. Anyway, look, I'm going to come away from there because I think I've done as much as I possibly can this evening. Wonderful. Productive evening. Productive evening. One of those evenings where it feels like I could have done better in terms of quality more than the amount of stuff that I've done. I am very happy with quite a few things on there. There's a few things on there that I'm not entirely happy with, and that's a part of the process, the part of the painting process. And I need to get used to that, and obviously I'll improve as time goes on. Really happy with how the light came out. Obviously, I've said that about a million times. I'm really happy with the skull icons, the skull and cog icons. The gold, silvers and golds I've never been very good with, so wherever they look neat and tidy, I'm happy. The gold could be tidier, the silver is all right, but you know, hopefully one day I will master it. And the light sourcing on that coil could be better, but maybe it's just the shape that is making it very, very difficult. I don't know yet. Maybe I need to get a glaze in there or something. Maybe I need to buy a couple of turquoise colours, a dark one, a light one, for example. Maybe I need to really darken up the outer edges a bit more to kind of create a third layer of contrast. Yeah. Other than that, though, he's looking okay. I don't know what I did to his head, bless him. But it's one of those things. Anyway, look, we are going to Salute next week. And if I'm not going to be on Friday, I will do my very, very best to be on Thursday evening. I know that I don't have any commitments as of yet on any of my weekday evenings. So hopefully I can just have a chat with the other half and say, hey, I'm going to do it on Thursday instead. Because we're travelling up on the Friday. So the community tells me. I couldn't quite remember which day it was. Tickets are still available. So if you do want to go to Salute, you still can go. They are £12 and it's well worth the go. It's an incredible event. From what I have seen, from what I have been told, I've not been before. It is going to be absolutely enormous, and it's in the London XL. So if you want to go there, it's really easy to get to. We're going to travel up by train here for the local community that are here in the Easy 8 community. We're going to go up by train because it means we can just sit there, chill out, have a beer on the carriage, and geek out for the entire journey on the way up. We're then going to get the subway from Paddington to North Greenwich, where we're staying in a pub. And then the next day we're taking the subway over to London XL, which is just 5 minutes subway trip. And then from there, at the end of the day, straight back to Paddington, and we're coming back home again. So if you want to come and meet us, team up with us and come along for that trip, then you are more than welcome to. I say tickets are still available. So yay. If not, maybe we'll meet you there if you don't want to come and join us on the way. And if not, then, well, you know, it's going to be great whether you're there or not. So you should come along. Yeah, there you go. Wow, I feel cynical this evening. Cynical, Danny. Not cool. I'm really sorry. You don't have to go to Salute. Don't listen to me. You don't even have to subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm going to lose all my subscribers this evening. Anyway, look, I've had a fantastic evening. It's been really... what's the word? Like, my ADHD is kicking in today. Like, it's been really productive. That's the word. I was going to say progressive. Not been progressive. Bit weird. Anyway, look, I'll see you next week. Until next time, see you. Yeah, see you there. Until next week, stay kind, be safe, and keep on painting. And I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye bye. Weird. Progressive. Progressive.